Hi you guys, welcome back. And today I have with me Manpreet Joshi and she's from SIA Immigration Solutions. She's here today to talk a little bit about express entry and category-based priority occupations. Welcome back, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. And we're so happy to have you back.
My pleasure.
We're gonna jump right in. And I wanna ask you, can you explain what express entry is and introduce the new category-based priority occupations?
So Express Entry is a very famous program for Canadian immigration, one of the most famous, where immigrants from all around the world apply for Canadian permanent residency. Students, workers who are here gain experiences and then they apply.
Right.
Express Entry has Canadian Experience Class, Federal Skilled Worker, Federal Skilled Trades Program. I think most of us knows because it's been a long time now that Express Entry is around. The major thing that I'm going to talk today is the Express Entry new category-based programs that are also around for a while now, and we have seen some draws, in the last year, and we're seeing now as well. So the category-based draws or this priority occupation stream of Express Entry, however you word it, this is more focused again on what Canada needs in future.
Right.
What type of workers we need, what type of skill set we need. And usually people think that a program, some sort of program comes and it goes, it's a temporary program, changes come again. Whatever happened in Express Entry and how it has developed, I don't see this. Yes, there may be changes in the priority occupations, but I don't think this concept of priority occupation is going away anywhere sooner.
Yeah.
Because of course, they may change. Okay, for an example, this priority occupation has further subcategory of French speaking, the transportation, trades, and the STEM words, the science, technology, mathematics, and all that people come into play. Healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about these subcategories, all of these subcategories has some sort of list of occupations that are eligible to get drawn at a lower score compared to the regular Express Entry basic draws where all skilled workers are drawn together at one score. So they may change these occupations every year. Okay, let's say in trades they may put carpenters this year, next year maybe they remove the carpenters, put another trade, or because when I say trades, all occupations of trades are not in priority Express Entry. You have to specifically look at, we have also a very descriptive information on our website, ciimmigration.com, where you can find out if your occupation is falling in Express Entry priority or not.
Right.
We have it for other categories as well, like BCPNP, but we have for Express Entry as well. So you have to make sure that you are in the priority occupation. Now, what type of experiences you need, we're going to talk further about it, but the major thing is, yes, you must be in the Express Entry priority occupation to be considered for the priority draws, and these are the priority sectors: trades, transportation, healthcare, technology, sciences, math, and French speaking. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, yeah, and as you said, I do want to get into more experience. So how much experience is required in priority occupations to qualify for category-based priority occupations? And can overseas experience be used for eligibility? And what if experience is gained from multiple employers?
Okay, so all these are very crucial questions. Because when we're talking about Express Entry, of course, Express Entry we apply when we already have experience, versus the other like PNPs, other pilot programs where you are going to gain experience. You're applying with a job offer. So when we're talking, in general, for Express Entry to be eligible in Canadian Experience Class, you must have 1 year of skilled experience in Canada, or you become eligible under Federal Skilled Worker with overseas experience and gaining 67 points, or you become eligible in Federal Skilled Trades Program. Now, after you become eligible in Express Entry in one of those programs, then the priority occupations come into play. So, for an example, you're eligible in Express Entry working as a retail supervisor for 1 year in Canada, under Canadian Experience Class. And then now, because you've got a trucking license, or because you've got a carriage license or anything, And now from last 6 months, you're continuously working as a healthcare aide or as a healthcare assistant or as a long haul truck driver.
Right.
You are eligible to express entry priority.
Okay.
And that is the requirement. Minimum of 6 months of work experience.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
In order to apply. But why I described it so much is, you just don't need 6 months of experience to be eligible to express entry. You must have 1 year of skilled experience to be eligible, because otherwise you can't even create a profile under any program.
Right.
But it can be mixed in that 1 year, or it can be on top of that 1 year.
Okay.
That 6 months of continuous work experience is required in one of the priority occupations. And if your occupation is in priority or not, how it's really a very descriptive question. And again, it's very specific for every individual. Because sometimes your job title is same.
Yeah.
But you do the duties that are not really related to the NOC that is eligible. So you have to be careful on that. Now your second question was the overseas, right?
Yes.
So yes, if you have worked at least 6 months, again, continuous, in one of the priority occupations of express entry, even overseas, you can still be considered for the draw.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yes. And even if you're living overseas right now, I have had clients who have had their profiles registered in Canadian experience class, but because, of course, scores has been so high for last entire year, it was like above 500s, and it's very, very hard to most of even very good profile candidates to meet it. So they probably, their work permit was expiring or other circumstances. Some of my clients went back home, like India or wherever they're from, and then they worked 6 months in that occupation.
Right.
Back home. Amazing. They can still be eligible.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yes. So overseas experience, or if you have worked in that occupation, for example, somebody worked as a, let's say software engineer back home. Right. And then they worked there for 5 years. Of course, they're eligible in the STEM, but then they have created their express entry profile based on their experience in Canada, which could be food service supervisor, retail supervisor, anything.
Yes.
Based on the Canadian experience class. They would still be considered as the priority occupation, but you make sure you list when you make your profile, you list it properly so that you can get considered for that draw.
Right.
So you have to properly list your occupation, primary occupation and everything, so that you can be considered for that draw.
Okay. Wow. And since many of these occupations are in trades, construction or sciences like agriculture, are there specific certifications or education requirements for applicants?
Not really for all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it just basically goes by the Canadian standards, and a lot of it depends on your employer. Okay. So for example, if you're an agriculture supervisor, you don't need any license. If you're a horticulture worker, you don't need it. And again, I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, agriculture is part of this priority occupation, and that is there was even one agriculture draw that was under 400, 383. So and again, if you are working as a healthcare assistant, it really depends where you're working in Canada.
Right.
Certain provinces require license, certain provinces don't. Certain provinces has a very short process of getting a license. Certain provinces you work like BC, you have to have 6 months of some sort of little training to get the license. It's a diploma program in 6 months that you can do. And again, as I've mentioned in my other videos as well, in PNPs and all, you can study if it requires a little bit of study to gain those skills. Because it's not, don't just look at that it's going to give you permanent residency in Canada. See, government didn't make this list out of nowhere. They made this list because they need these workers, which automatically means that if you have skills to do this kind of job, it is directly proportional to you getting into the job market.
Amazing, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So versus any basic business thing, the business diploma or doing something like that. This is more. This is of course more better. Or I would say it gives you more options to explore the Canadian job market and immigration to Canada. There are high number of trades workers that are going to retire very soon, and then they need trade workers to fill it. And all trade programs are not that tough, and all trade jobs are also not requiring certification. Definitely you need on-job training and everything.
Right.
If you have some experience from back home, maybe your employer is ready to train you. And again, as I said, it has to be, this discussion after some point becomes very individual, circumstances oriented.
Yes. Given that many provinces also have priority streams such as the BCP&P priority, how does the express entry STEM stream differ from these provincial priority streams?
So most of the provincial priority streams, most of them like BCP&P also, are job offer oriented.
Okay.
So the major difference between that and express entry priority is that you've already done it, right? Of course, it is very good for your profile and overall application if you're currently working in that job.
Right.
But you don't need an offer from your employer to be eligible into express entry priority. But like BCP&P priority, you need an offer, which is like a future thing.
Yes.
So your employer is promising to keep you in future in this job. So which comes with an employer support. Where they require a lot of employee documents to verify their company which is supporting you. So sometimes that can be a little bit challenging. It's not easier to get a supportive employer. Maybe, they don't want to get into this. They don't want to provide company documents. So in that case, if you work 6 months into the express entry priority, it's easier. And also the priority list of occupation, they're not same.
Oh no.
They're different in PNP, they're different in express entry, even the categories, subcategories, NOCs, different. They're all different.
Okay.
And all provinces are different too. Like high demand in Saskatchewan, that are different.
Right.
BCP&P priority is different. Manitoba in demand is different, and express entry priority is different.
Makes sense.
Express entry priority is based on all over Canadian economy, and the other provincial priorities are based on the province's economy.
Okay.
So express entry priority is more versatile.
Yes,
it can expose you to more job opportunities all around Canada versus provincial priorities, and then easier PR.
Yeah, awesome. Wow, that was a lot of really, really useful information. I think that's all of the questions I have today. Thanks again so much for coming on and talking to us.
Yes, my pleasure. And I want to highlight one thing again that I always want to say for every program, that this is a basic information. Even if after listening to this information, you feel that, oh, I don't think so, I'm eligible into this. Maybe, because I have a whole lot of different experience, line of study.
Right.
Still, don't lose hope. You can search more on our website. You can contact us. Because every individual has very personalized circumstances when it comes to immigration.
Right.
Maybe the job you did, you think it is not eligible. Maybe when we look at the job duties in more, descriptive way. Or maybe you can go, you've done this much work in this field, and if you can get a little bit of another few weeks of training or a little diploma, maybe it can make you back eligible to one of the priority occupations and make the permanent residency easier. Yeah.
Well, thank you for highlighting that. I think that was really important. And thanks again. Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight?
I think that's all. And then the next step would be how to apply, what you need to apply, and that is again a descriptive information. You need your if you're using your work experience from overseas.
Right.
Make sure you have the right paperwork. This is very challenging. One of the most challenging things, because when you have experience in overseas, like let's say you have an experience from Dubai, you have an experience from India, you have an experience from Brazil, wherever, how those employers look at the same job title is very different how Canadian immigration describes it.
Interesting, yeah.
Let's say they say executive assistant. In what? Are you admin assistant? Were you administrative officer? Were you into IT? What were you doing? What are your job duties? And a lot of times when you get your job letters from overseas employers, a lot of times when I do the initial consultation with client, they are more into, okay, I have a job letter from my back home employer, don't worry, I can prove it. And I'm like, are you sure it has all the components? Because some countries don't even consider what is full-time, part-time.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So you have to mention the work hours, you have to mention the work days, and a lot of other components that makes your application eligible for permanent residency. Because just writing down in job letter that this person has worked in this company at this position is not sufficient. The job letter is always like the base of your application. Of course, you cannot tell your employer what to write. But of course, you can request that please mention these things that I have done in your company.
Right, exactly. Wow, really good to know. Thank you so
That's
much.
all.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you once again for coming on and talking. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Really quickly, before I sign off here, I just want to give you some information. For more information, you can visit siaimmigration.com. We're going to throw up that link so you guys can go there. You can also contact SIA Immigration directly. So stick around at the end of the video. We're going to throw up all of the contact information for you guys. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.